Hell yeah!
The Drake Ironclad release is imminent, as the DefenseCon teaser has already shown its exterior. So let's have one last look at what changes to the Ironclad concept we can expect, as some have already been teased, while others we still can only speculate about. I have spent hundreds of hours rebuilding the interior of the Ironclad, and so this will focus on layout changes rather than component or stud changes. And before I start, I'm sorry that this is not illustrated in the usual level of quality, because I currently don't have access to my computer, but I still wanted to get the information out before the Ironclad is out. Alright, to get started, let's do a quick brush up on the complete layout and specifically your traversal options. We have 4 decks. Biggest part of the first deck is obviously the hangar, which towards the rear has a lot of big component access as well as the mule parking area. On either side of the ship there are 2 small corridors with a few steps down. These lead outside onto these side gantries, which could be your first entry point depending on how these ladders will be configured. And then the second and main entry is obviously the front ramp. There are 3 ways up from here. The ladders on the hangar gantries, we know these have moved, but I assume they are still there. This small ladder exclusive to the port side, and then the central stairway which will go up all the way to deck 4. Before we go up though, it looks like a lot of empty space on this level, but right above in the back is the engineering section which will reach down onto this first deck. Just that there was no access from this floor shown at concept time. On deck 2 we have that engineering section I just mentioned with an adjacent room for more component access. A small intersection connecting engineering to the, I assume, suit locker room that leads into the docking port. Your only way in or out of the ship on this level. A way to the stairwells and to this angled corridor above the mule parking overlooking the hangar. This leads onto the gantry surrounding the hangar. In the front is the secure storage room, as well as access to turrets and tractor beam. And lastly, this corridor connects stairwell, engineering and also the single ladder I showed earlier. In summary, traversal-wise, this deck is pretty much a big 8, so these 2 decks are super interesting with multiple ways up and down, very suited for FPS missions. That changes a little from here. Only the stairwell leads to deck 3, where we have habitation, which is a dead end traversal-wise, and the command deck, which is technically between deck 3 and 4, but it's also a dead end. Up to deck 4, this is where you will have access to the command module, from where you fly the ship or from where you escape the ship in an emergency. And another long corridor leading to the captain's quarter, another dead end. And there you have it, that was the original layout. In October last year we got the first look at the Ironclad by this teaser of the Aurora set in its hangar. Tiny detail that I took away from this are these steel beams going all the way from the floor to the top. These were not present in the concept and these could limit what ships you can fit into here. Early on stream we tried a lot of options and some ships you could cram in when they overhang these gantries a bit. Second image we saw was this look at the command deck, confirming only that the window is still rather narrow and rather high, leading to that terrible view I mentioned in my last tour. Then in January we got this image, and that shows substantial changes for the first time. The corridor here is angled, and if you remember there was only one like this. On deck 2, to the right, you get a glimpse of that window overlooking the hangar. But there's a ladder here, another way up. And this I did manage to add to my reconstruction in time. It comes out very much across from the original stairs coming up and down, with habitation to the left and command deck to the right. Small change, but one I really love because it opens up traversal a lot. But there's more to see here. It looks like there's a door on the right side here that wasn't there before, and that is about where your stairs going up were before. Could be just a small Harry Potter storage room under the stairs, but there was talk about more substantial changes. In June 2025 we learned about some areas receiving layout alteration to improve traversal. And then in July 25 further navigation flow updates were made to the Drake Ironclad, including new elevators, note that it's plural, and revised staircase locations to improve traversal times around the ship. Now, this is not enough information to give a good, well-founded prediction, but I personally think that the idea of having one staircase going from bottom to top is as efficient as it gets. And also the stairs from deck 3 to 4 can't really change in orientation, they are dedicated by this shape here. So I have two ideas. Currently every flight of stairs is its own room, which is great for depressurizing or venting specific parts in case of a fire, but not as efficient. If you go from deck 1 to 4 you would have to open 7 doors. Maybe the first 3 decks have been unified to one room, one big stairwell. That would save some space, and decks like the second one could have exits on both sides so you don't have to run around the whole block. But remember, we still have to fit multiple elevators. So maybe the stairs layout did not change as much, and instead an elevator was added in the very center, coming out somewhere like on the picture here, and above it could be right between the existing stairs. And the second elevator, I hope, could be in the front, because currently there is no good way to get anything really up to the secure storage. Lifting something with a tractor beam onto the gantries and then carrying it can't be the best option. In March, we got the next image showing the command deck from an external view. Not much to find here but the beautiful detailing, except that when you gamma up this image you can find that the bed in the captain's quarters has changed sides. Another small change that is appreciated, because the first thing you'd see coming in before would have been the bed. And now we get to the wild, unfounded speculation. First, ceiling exits. In a lot of the concepts there are handrails as well as people on the exterior of the ship. The latest teaser confirmed that the rails have stayed, but there was no place mentioned to leave the ship. I hope there is, I like it a lot on the Corsair, and my two best guesses would be on the third deck next to the newly introduced ladder, or on deck 4 on the corridor to the captain's quarters. There are also those rails here suggesting something here, and both options would improve the dead ends a bit if they needed improving. Then the mysterium that you can't get the mules out of the cargo hold if it's full. Either the space in between has been widened just a bit, or I could see the floor of the parking area to be a surface elevator as seen on, I don't know, Galaxy or Constellation. Lastly, there is not a crazy amount of wasted space on this ship. There is a bit of room for expansion around habitation, but the biggest is on the starboard first deck. There would potentially be space for an additional room right next to the parking area, let's say a small medical room, not that I really expect one, or a small fabrication room, but what I could also see is another small corridor and entrance into that lower engineering section. Again, completely unfounded, just an idea I would like. But while there are no big areas of wasted space, there are plenty of small patches here and there, and I really hope for more tight crawl spaces. Jeffrey's tubes like on the MSR, just that they would be a lot more useful and, more importantly, less of an unnecessary waste of space here. That would be the final addition to make this the greatest labyrinth and the best possible ship for interesting boarding missions that I hope it to be. And that's it. I spent so much time thinking about this spaceship and I'm now incredibly excited how it will turn out. I expect it to be released on the 14th of May, so very soon. Oh, wait, last minute bonus edition. The Drake Pitbull was just revealed. Measurements are not out yet, but someone made an estimate based on the guns it has equipped. So how many of these could fit into that Ironclad? Potentially around 35. A special thanks to my new and existing channel members supporting these videos. And now thank you for watching and see you in the verse.